Okaeri and yokoso. Thank you all so much for watching again. We are doing a night film this time, so my voice is going to be a little lower and maybe a little bit more sultry. I wonder if I'll, be sexy to somebody out there. That would be awesome. But anyway, I have decided that I'm gonna just start telling y'all exactly what I think. And you can thank D'Angelo Wallace for this, and I thank D'Angelo Wallace for this. If you don't know who that is, and you can understand English very well, I will put a link in the description for one of D'Angelo's videos. D'Angelo, very quickly, is a wonderful human being, and it's really tough to say like which one of us is like the more beautiful black man. Like it's so close that like there are some times in my heart where I'm just like, maybe D'Angelo is more beautiful than me. Is that possible? Oh my God, right? Anyway, so I I honestly thank D'Angelo so much for setting my heart free in a lot of ways. I'm basically a lot of what I'm doing is just copying his energy. I'm just gonna tell y'all my story and I'm gonna tell y'all what I think. And a lot of you are going to be mad. Anyway, so let's get the friends in here, have a quick introduction. Say hello, y'all. And let's see. The title. Listen, I said what I said. Yeah. Uh, the Japanese are the white people of Asia. And to be a bit more diplomatic about it, I want to say that Japanese culture trains Japanese people to act in ways that in many ways mirror what white culture is in America, and not just America, worldwide. Just gonna keep it real simple, I'm gonna call it racism, and we've got white supremacy, and so here in Japan, there's a very very strong like Japanese supremacy that like has existed for a long time. Like Japan was conquered in the war, but ideologically, a lot of the imperialist ideology survived. And anyway, we'll get into that. Today I'm going to tell y'all some stories so that this isn't just some theoretical story about Japanese racism. I'm going to tell you about my life here as a black man in Japan. So, wherever I go, and I mean wherever, I literally drove 3,000 miles over the course of 4 or 5 days to Hokkaido from Shinshiro. And everywhere I went, people thought that I do drugs. And in particular, they think I smoke weed. Now, I love weed. I do not smoke it here in Japan because it is illegal. And I like living here. Also, in my rental contract for this house, there is a clause that says if I break a Japanese law, they can kick me out of my house. We don't play those games. All right, so now here's the thing. So let me tell you, I smoke tobacco, pipe tobacco, because I'm a cool freaking guy. I'm just really cool. I don't know what to tell you. I smoke pipe. I smoke a pipe. It doesn't go into the lungs. I don't put any smoke into my lungs that is not weed. So nothing goes into my lungs these days, basically. Anyway, pipe tobacco only goes into the mouth and it's absorbed through your mucosa membranes. It's a whole thing. Anyway, so if I'm in public and I pull out my pipe to put tobacco in, within seconds, out of nowhere, someone somehow shows up to get within sniffing range of my smoke. Like, without fail, I can be anywhere. I've been doing laundry at like 7:30 in the morning, and an old woman will come out of her house and come like pass by me and just go for a walk, like go for a walk nowhere and go back to her house. And now here's an even better story. So contract for this apartment, right? There's a whole bunch of hoops you have to jump through to get anything in Japan, because that's how Japan works. They want you to know that you're less important than they are. That's just how the culture operates. And so I jumped through hoops. I've been jumping through hoops my whole life. Like, I grew up in Brooklyn. I jumped through hoops to stay alive. So I'm pretty good at it. Anyway, one of the hoops was going through the list of agreements for the contract. And so I'm talking with one dude, right, at my real estate agency. He's explaining things to me. And we got to this point about breaking the law in Japan, right? And I had a question about self-defense. Like, so he actually specifically said, like, it basically just means if you start a fight with someone or like, hurt someone. And honestly, I don't know why he chose that as his example, but he did. And so I was like, what about self-defense? Is that okay? And he wasn't sure what I fucking meant. Like, what do you mean? How do you not understand what self-defense means? And so out of nowhere, someone not in the conversation brings up weed. And I was so confused. I didn't know what the colloquial term for weed was in Japanese. That's how much I don't smoke here. So she comes out of nowhere and she's like, yeah, if you like offer weed to somebody here in Japan, then that's a no-go. And I was so confused for a second, and then I caught on, and I was like, how did we get here? Obviously, I'm not gonna do that because I am not a drug dealer. And so think about this. This is a professional setting. I am talking with one person. Another person who works at this real estate agency overhears and decides that the law that they want to make sure that I understand is about weed. So if someone out there can explain this situation to me so that it's not racist, please be my guest. Help me out. From now on, I'm going to be keeping it real with you guys. So you're going to hear about my experiences in Japan and what it's like. I'm not going to go through conceptually all of Japan, what makes it racist here in one video. You'll see. Anyway, this week's anime, Gundam 00, because it is about war. The Gundam series in general, just all of it, is about war. And I've gone over this briefly in a previous video, but Gundam 00 specifically is about geopolitics, like global politics, and what it takes for humans to evolve. Like, evolution isn't a process that has to happen over the course of generations. We're special. Human beings, we're special. If we choose to, follow our hearts, then we can evolve in our present lifetime. This is not just like me thinking. This is a teaching that exists in spiritual practices as well. Anyway, so Gundam 00 is wonderful. I also mention this series because in my travels, a lot of people asked me about the Ukraine war, and a lot of them are surprised when I don't give as much of a fuck as they expect me to, and I'm gonna tell you why I don't. Give me just a quick second here. So my people have been under siege for centuries. And let me explain to you who I mean by my people. First, the obvious. I am black. I am a black man. If I went back to New York City and I was shining like this and I was this happy, I could be killed within like a week, by the cops. That's just kind of what it's like to be a black man in New York. And my adoptive people are the Diné, the also known as the Navajo. Like they are my adoptive family. Native people are also under siege, if that's not super obvious. And I want to make this very clear. There are the two peoples who are most at risk of losing their lives in the United States are black men and native women. Black men are just killed for being, alive. Native women are stolen, literally stolen. None of this makes news. And obviously there are, like, people go through stuff. Like, let me put it differently. Obviously, all sorts of peoples have their challenges. But yeah, my people have been at war, or like under siege for hundreds of years. So like when like the news makes a big deal about war between white people, it I don't know what to tell you. War is bad if that's not obvious. If it's not obvious that I believe war is bad, then why are we friends? At the same time, how about poverty? Because poverty doesn't need to exist, and yet people die from it in way greater numbers than the Ukraine conflict on a regular basis. So let's talk about that maybe. Anyway, let's wrap things up. We've got a wonderful spotlight here. Cabaton is one of my go-to restaurants. For one, it has I feel like they may have made having cute, attractive and kind-eyed women a requirement for being hired or something. I mean, the men also are kind, but I don't know. I generally am visually attracted to women. So the food is excellent. I'm not gonna give you any pictures of the food, but the food is quality. There's always a good amount of vegetables in each bowl of ramen, which is unusual and refreshing, and I appreciate it. Anyway, y'all should check out Cabaton. And now, also important, some of the music that you'll be hearing played in the background of this video is a performance by a native man that I met recently. He is an Ainu man, and if he wants his name in this, I'll put it in the description. But yeah, Japan has native people. Japanese culture, Japanese, the national culture, can be considered a monolithic culture. It is the culture of the Yamato people. Yeah. The Ainu people are not the same. I'm gonna make that just very simple, short and sweet. Anyway, yeah, this is my first shot at just kind of giving you guys the truth. Let's see how this goes. Let's see if this turns into a Chappelle Show skit of when keeping it real goes wrong, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna lose some friends over this one. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Friends, say something. I didn't give y'all a lot of room for speaking this time. I promise we will work on that. Anyway, thank you all so much. Peace.